Bill. My name is Ruchi Malhotra, and I am the Education Director at Asia Institute Crane House. I am so glad that you guys can join us today. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy at home. We are delighted to be part of Lift Up Louisville Live today. And today we are going to be telling you a Japanese folk tale using the art of kamishibai. It's called kamishibai. It is a Japanese form of storytelling, also called Japanese paper play. So it is a form of Japanese street theater, which was developed in the late 20s and was very popular during the Depression until the arrival of television. The original street performer, also known as the Kamishibai Man, was a candy peddler on a bicycle. And he traveled to the street corners and sat with the sets of illustrated boards, which look like these, like this. And then they had the story written behind it. And he narrated these stories by changing these each time. So he would start from the beginning and then he would go this way. And that is what I am going to do. This is our miniature stage device, which he usually had on his bicycle. He would carry this around on the back and he would sell candy. So unfortunately, we don't have a bicycle and we don't have candy to sell or to give, but we have a great story to share, and I hope you enjoy it. So this is the way he got attention of the kids when he was on the streets trying to sell candy, the Kamishibai Man. And this was the box, the stage, the wooden box he would have, and he opened it this way. I hope you all can see. Here's the house, the stage. And today we are going to read the story about the mouse's wedding. Once, long, long ago, there was a very rich mouse who lived in a big storehouse. He had more than enough rice and wheat and beans to eat and wanted more for nothing. And he had a pretty daughter with big black eyes named Chuku. You see Chuku? She's right here. Here's the dad, and here's the mama mouse. One day, a mouse named Chukichi Chu, who lived in a small black alley, came to visit the mouse's family. Chukichi said to the father, "Father Mouse, please let me marry your daughter." And the father mouse said, "What? Let you marry my daughter? What? That's ridiculous. You are wasting my time. She's going to marry the mightiest creature in the world, not a mouse." Chukichi was really sad and he said, "But Father Mouse, I will work very hard and keep her happy." Father Mouse was very cold and he said, "I will hear nothing of it. Now be on your way." When Chukichi left, Father Mouse changed quickly into his best kimono. See the kimono? This is a kimono which Japanese people wear. There's a men's kimono and there's a women's kimono. Father Mouse said, "Well, I will never let Chukichi marry my precious daughter. She's going to marry the mightiest creature in the world. And we all know that the mightiest creature in the world is Mr. Sun. Don't we, Mother Mouse?" And Mother Mouse was like, "Oh, okay, yes, of course. Everyone knows that he's the mightiest. If he weren't here, the world would be in darkness. So Father Mouse said, "That's right. Well, I am off to see Mr. Sun. I will be back soon." So Father Mouse went out, and look who he saw. He saw Mr. Sun, and he said, "Good day, Mr. Sun. I came to talk to you about something. I want my daughter to marry the mightiest creature in the world. Since you alone have the power to bring light to our world, I would like you to marry her." And Mr. Sun said, "Marry your daughter? Hmm. And then he see what is coming up next. It is the cloud. See the cloud coming this way. And Mr. Sun said, "The cloud is the mightiest creature in the world, Father Mouse." And the Father Mouse was very surprised. And he said, "Really?" Mr. Sun was, "Well, you see, when I am covered by Mr. Cloud, I cannot shine. And the world becomes as dark as if it were covered by a thick blanket." So Father Mouse was kind of embarrassed. He was like, I see what you're saying. Then I must go and talk to Mr. Cloud, he thought. So Father Mouse went to the cloud and said, Mr. Cloud, may I have a word with you?" And Mr. Cloud said, "What would you like, Father Mouse?" Father Mouse was very confused. He said, "You see, Mr. Cloud, I have a daughter, Chuku, and she is very precious to me. I want her to marry the mightiest creature in the world. Mr. Sun suggested you. Please, would you let her be your bride?" Mr. Cloud said, "Thank you, Miss Father Mouse. I appreciate the honor, but there is someone in the world mightier than I. And you know who?" And Mr. Mouse started wondering and he said, "Is that possible? And who could that be?" Mr. Cloud said, "Look, he's blowing over this way right now. Don't you feel it?" Father Mouse was surprised to see Mr. Cloud was being pushed away so easily in all directions. And what was that? Wait, Mr. Cloud, you're moving away from me," Father Mouse said. "Don't go." Mr. Cloud said, "I can't help it. Mr. Wind is so strong. You see, he is the mightiest creature in the world." And Father Mouse was so surprised, and he said, "Even mightier than you?" Mr. Cloud said, "Yes, can't you see how easily he can blow me away? Goodbye, Father Mouse, goodbye." And here comes Mr. Wind. And Father Mouse said, Mr. Wind, please stop blowing for a minute and listen to me." Mr. Wind was, "What in the world could a mouse want to talk to me about?" he thought. But Father Mouse was very polite. He said, Sir, you are the mightiest creature in the world, and I want my daughter to marry you." And Mr. Wind said, "Me? The mightiest creature in the world? Oh, don't you know that there is someone in the world mightier than I am?" And Father Mouse could figure it out. He said, "Who would that possibly be?" And he started wondering. Mr. Wind said, "It's Mr. Wall. Mr. Wall? He certainly stands up to me. I can puff and I can puff. I can blow everyone away, but I cannot blow him down." I have to say that Mr. Wall is the strongest and the mightiest of all. He is the one you want and not me. So Father Mouse was really surprised and he said, "Really? Mr. Wall, you say?" Mr. Wind said, "Yeah, Mr. Wall it is." And he started blowing and blowing away. So Father Mouse went over to where Mr. Wall lived. And then Father Mouse said, "Good day, Mr. Wall. I have known you for a long time, but never realized until now that you are the mightiest creature in the world." Mr. Wall was all confused. He didn't know what was going on. And he said, "What are you talking about? What makes you think I am so mighty?" Father Mouse said, "You are mightier than Mr. Wind, aren't you? He told me that you were so strong and so mighty that he could not budge you one bit." So you see, Mr. Wall, I talked to who? Mr. Sun first. Then I talked to Mr. Cloud as well, and Mr. Wind. And since you seem to be the mightiest of all, would you do me the honor of marrying my precious daughter, Chuku? Mr. Wall was really amused and he started laughing and he's like, "Ah, ah, ah, ah. Well, Father Mouse, that's very amusing. But have you looked at me very closely? Don't you know that there is someone mightier than I am? What's over here? And then, look, what's over here? Here's a hole, right? Who made that? Who was mighty enough to make a hole right through me? And I am not sure who that is," Father Mouse said. "Who? I wonder who that is." Let's see who it was. Mr. Wall said, "Who can chew a big hole in me and then walk right in? Why, only a mouse can do that. So truly, you might are the mightiest and strongest in the world." Father Mouse almost fell over with surprise. And he thought about it and he said, "Hmm, today is the wedding day of guess who?" What did he decide? He decided that Chukichi could marry his daughter, Chuku, because at the end he figured it out that the mouse was the mightiest of all. So it really doesn't matter what size you are, big or small, you can be the mightiest of all and the strongest of all, right? So here you see Chukichi is dressed in formal clothes and Chuku is wearing a bride's headdress. Here's Chuku, here's Chuku, here's Chuku, and here's Chukichi. Here's the father mouse and the mother mouse, and they're all wearing different kimonos, beautiful kimonos. They are exchanging special cups of rice and wine in the wedding ceremony. And Father Mouse and Mother Mouse are very happy and they're squeaking to delight. After all, the mighty mouse was the best bridegroom. And that ends our story. And we come back to the first card. So this is what Kamashibai is all about. And we are going to close our little stage here, wooden stage here. I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. There you go. Thank you for coming and joining us today at Lift Up Louisville, and I hope you enjoyed the story. I just want to introduce Queen House again as a community resource for Asian cultures, heritage, and through arts, outreach, and education. Hope you enjoyed the story and the art of Kamashibai, and please share the video on your Facebook page or on from Lift Up Louisville. Thank you. Have a wonderful day and stay safe and healthy.